Okay, I think we can start now because we're starting to see more people pop up. So hi everyone, good morning. Thank you for joining us on our live session today. And with us we have the lovely senior recruitment manager for Into USA, Greta. Greta, please say hi, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. As she mentioned, my name is Greta. As you can probably tell by my accent, I do come from the United States, but I'm actually tuning in from Dubai, where I've been living for the past 6 years. But I'm super duper privileged. I get to work with different agencies and meet with students all across the globe. And specifically in countries in Africa. So hopefully we can get into some juicy, beefy material that'll be of use for any of you who are interested in studying in the United States.
All right, thank you. So without wasting so much time, if you can, take us through what Intel has to offer for, our lovely audience, that would be wonderful.
Sure. Would it be okay if I share my screen? I've got a presentation for everyone. Or is it better if I just talk off the bat?
Whatever is most comfortable for you. If you feel like you'd want to show a presentation, I'm sure our audience would be more than happy to, see what you prepared for us. Since you prepared something, please go ahead and, share it.
Sure. Let me see if technology agrees with me today. Because sometimes it does not.
You're not alone.
Share. Okay. So
All right.
it should be showing you my slideshow, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, just to reemphasize, hi, you guys. My name is Greta. I mostly go by the USA lady. So if you ever have any questions about what it's like to live in the United States, work in the United States, I can tell you from my own personal experience. But I work for a company called Into University Partnerships. And ISP knows us very, very well. So they're able to give you all the guidance on which universities are best for you specifically. But these are the universities that I'm an expert on. And currently we have 18 different universities across the United States. We also have a campus in Madrid, Spain, one in South Korea, and we just launched a campus in Dubai, where I'm situated now. Now, the Dubai campus is primarily for students who want to pursue a foundation year. And probably most of our audience is not interested in that. Probably most of you are looking for graduate degrees. But for those of you who are interested in getting an undergraduate degree, but aren't really quite yet ready to go to the US or the UK, then we do have an option in Dubai where you can just kind of hang out with us for a year while still earning college credit. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to kind of remind you of why the United States is different as a study destination than other places in the world. And really, it boils down to the kind of stuff that the university gives you in addition to top quality education. Campus life, of course, whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate student, you have the opportunity to live on campus, whether it be in the dorms. These are some off-campus accommodation that the universities provide. And of course, the plethora of food that is included in the room and board kind of package that all universities offer. In fact, students who study in the United States often gain what we call the freshman 15. It's almost expected that anyone who goes to the United States is going to gain at least 15 pounds in their first year just because of how much food we have. Of course, you don't have to live on campus. You don't have to eat the food on campus, but you'd be missing out if you didn't. The experience overall, this is really an all-encompassing sort of experience apart from just the academics. Campuses in the United States are designed to keep you engaged, keep you entertained, and most of all, continue to help you grow in all aspects of your life. Whether you're 18 years old or 80 years old, maybe for some reason you're 80 and getting a master's, who knows? But there's constantly activities going on the campus, to save you money so you don't have to go away from campus and spend money. But also just to help you develop as an individual and as probably a young adult. So this includes networking opportunities, career fairs, all the sports, hobbies, clubs, singing, musicals, every single thing you can possibly imagine. This is on campus and just designed for you to be in a safe environment where you can really flourish. In addition to that, all US universities have very robust support systems. What I mean by that is, of course, mental health, physical health. It's kind of inevitable that at some point or another, you're going to face some form of difficulty, whether it is simply missing your family back home, or maybe you're going through something financially that's very stressful for you. And US universities take this very, very seriously. And so they're all offering different services for students free of charge, just included in the tuition. Most universities will offer at least 9 counseling sessions for all students. And honestly, even if you don't have something that's difficult going on in your life, it's just nice to have some like mental health maintenance, just to talk things through with somebody who's not emotionally invested in your problems, just to have a sounding board. So that's at all US universities, and you won't really find that in other places around the world. Now, this is probably the ugliest slide that I have, so bear with me. But what Into offers is different entry points to these 18 plus universities. And most of us in this session today are probably going to want to go for what's known as direct entry. What that generally means is that you have strong academics and your English speaking, reading, writing, listening ability is very strong. And for most of us in the room here, you will not have to provide any sort of English proficiency test. And I know that you don't work in GPA system, but generally speaking, if you have about an 80% overall in either your high school or your undergraduate degree, then you're going to be able to get direct entry into any of our partners. For those of us in the room who did not do well, like myself, we have other points of entry called International Year 1 and the Integrated Master's Program and Graduate Pathway Program for those who did poorly in undergrad and still want to get a master's degree. So no matter how low your grades are, we will probably be able to place you at least one of our partner institutions. And that's really good news for folks like me who just totally blew off undergrad, had no idea what I was doing. This slide is just to kind of show you how it works. So if you have heard of the term pathway program or International Year 1, that might make you a little bit nervous and make you think, oh, well, that's going to be in addition to my program. But with Into, that's not actually the case. If you are placed in International Year 1 or going into the Integrated Master's Program or Graduate Pathway Program, it's actually built into the degree. So if you're going for an undergraduate degree, it's still going to be a 4-year program. And if you're going for a graduate degree, it's still going to be a 2-year program. You're not adding on any time to your program. These are just the basic things that we need for any application. So if you're applying for an undergraduate degree, we need your WAEC results with 5 subjects and an average of 7 to 3 or lower, where grade 1 is the highest grade. And your subjects must include English, math, and science. Of course, we'll also need a passport. And to process the visa, we will need a bank statement with 1 year of tuition plus 1 year of accommodation shown on the bank statement. Now, on that subject, that's for most people the most nerve-wracking part, getting the visa, right? We will not take any money apart from the confirmation deposit for your visa. The confirmation deposit is something that you submit when you are confirming your offer. And even that money is refundable in the case of a visa refusal. So there's literally no stake. There's no risk involved in submitting an application because most of them are also going to be completely free of charge. Now for the graduate students, we need scores of 50 to 59 or a 2.0 to a 2.3 GPA. We need the passport, the bank statement again, and occasionally, depending on the university and depending on the program, we will require a GRE or a GMAT. But we can get those answers for you before you even submit an application. Now, I want to talk about STEM and OPT for just a second. a lot of people want to go to the United States and study a STEM designated major because they know that studying something science, technology, engineering, or maths is going to give them a 3-year post-study work visa as opposed to only a 1-year post-study work visa. And we have some foolproof ways that you can pick a specific major knowing matter-of-factly that this is STEM designated by the US government so that your chances of getting that 3-year work visa are higher than going in blind. And this is just a short example of the many STEM designated majors that we offer at some of our different institutions. Of course, fees. One of the biggest and most common questions that I get about studying in America is how much is it going to cost? Well, we're talking about West Coast to East Coast and everything in between. So there's really a very broad range, but fortunately your counselor is going to be able to help you narrow down which universities are within your price range. I usually start by asking what major would you like to study? And then we have a smaller list of universities that offer that major. And then from there we go with the universities that are within your budget. But a very short answer to the big question is tuition can range from $0 all the way up to $80,000 per year. It really just depends on where you're going and what entry point you are going, whether it's direct entry or the pathway program. I will say direct entry does tend to be a little bit cheaper than your international year one or your graduate pathway program. But it also comes with different scholarships, which is the next thing that I want to talk about. To be completely frank with you all, scholarships are not necessarily guaranteed, and none of them are full ride scholarships, with the exception of one university, which I will talk about at the end of the presentation. But the scholarships are dependent upon, again, your mode of entry. So if you have submitted a direct entry application, then the scholarship parameters we understand. However, we cannot give you any level of certainty how much scholarship you will actually receive from the university. And most of these scholarships are usually small, ranging from $500 to maybe $39,000, depending on the university. But almost no scholarships will go above 50% of what the basic tuition rate is. For the international year one and graduate pathway applications, we do have some control over those scholarships. Again, they're going to be quite marginal, somewhere between $500 and maybe $7,000, depending on the university. And it will just be for that one semester or 1 year of the pathway program that you are taking. The direct entry scholarships are primarily going to be merit-based, versus the pathway scholarships are going to be from Into directly. So if it wasn't automatically given to you, then we can request a scholarship for you. So those are your scholarship options. This is something that's very, very exciting. The PASS program, it stands for Pre-Arrival Success Services. And this is designed simply to give you the highest possible chance of getting the visa approved. And since we implemented this, our visa success rates have skyrocketed. Of course, we have no control over what the US embassies are doing in each country. But once you do get a visa appointment, then our PASS team is going to train you on how to maximize your potential for success in that visa interview. So the PASS program, you can enroll in once you have received your offer letter and your I-20 from the university. And you'll be able to attend webinars for basic information, but the most useful part of this is going to be your one-on-one virtual visa practice session with the PASS team. And that's where you're going to be able to actually hear real questions, give real answers, and get feedback on your responses so that you feel more prepared for your visa interview. Let's talk a little bit about what we can do in terms of jobs once you get to the United States. Now, we do have some universities which are actually giving guaranteed ready-made jobs for you before you even reach the university. Now, as you may or may not know, students, international students studying in the United States are not allowed to work off campus, but you are allowed to work on campus for up to 20 hours per week. So it's really beneficial to have a guaranteed job on campus ready for you once you reach there. And the University of Alabama at Birmingham and Oregon State University are two of our partners that will actually give you a job prior to you even reaching campus. Now, to be completely honest with you, these are not going to be very glamorous jobs. These are just basic, like campus maintenance, cafeteria, barista, library, teacher assistant, these types of jobs that are going to earn you around $15 per hour. But that does give you the opportunity to earn over $20,000 per year on campus. And the best part is that the hours work around your class schedule. So it doesn't interrupt your studies whatsoever. Another mention here, Hofstra University in New York. They have incredible co-op opportunities built into the academic programs. So those are other opportunities that the universities give you to earn money while you're still a student. And while it's on my mind, one thing that I need to tell you guys to prepare for when you're going to the United States is before you graduate, you will all have the opportunity to redeem something called CPT. This is basically up to 1 year of opportunity where you can actually work off campus. You can get a full-time internship. You can get a full-time job for up to 1 year while you're still a student, as long as what you are doing is pertaining to the degree that you are studying. And as long as you don't do, I believe it's beyond 11 months of this CPT, then it's not going to affect your OPT or your post-study work visa at all. So hypothetically, you could actually get up to 4 years of working in the United States if you play your cards right. All you have to do is plan it out, let your academic advisors know about it, and they'll make sure that you are compliant within the US laws. I have a lot of information regarding some specific partners that I just wanted to highlight to you guys. I've taken up so much time, so I'll try to be quick with this and then pass it on to the next speaker. But I brought some universities with me that have really strong programs and really affordable tuition rates as well. The University of Alabama at Birmingham is one of my top choices for any student who is interested in the health sciences. They have one of the best nursing schools in the nation, as well as an incredible public health sciences program for the master's programs. And the tuition here is really quite reasonable. Let's skip to the direct entry here. For undergraduate, it's about $31,500 with scholarships up to $7,500. And for the graduate side, the tuition is under $25,000 per year. Generally speaking, you guys, for graduate programs, direct entry specifically, there are not really going to be any scholarship opportunities, but sometimes the specific college, which in this case, if you're studying a master's in public health, it would be the College of Public Health. Sometimes they do have a little bit of money to give to specific students. Because of where this is located in the United States, the cost of living is very low. So it's really only around $15,000 per year. That would be inclusive of a roof over your head and unlimited food. The next university that I want to talk about is called St. Louis University. And this also happens to have a campus in Madrid, Spain. So if it's more convenient for you to study just north of you, really, then you do have the option to do so there. The only caveat is that if you want to work in the United States, you will have to graduate in the United States. But they do have some 2+2 degree options, but not so much for the master's programs. But St. Louis University is really, really renowned for a lot of their STEM programs. In fact, they have STEM designated master's degrees, which is a really good option for students who want to stay in the United States for as long as possible, but who are interested in studying business programs. Now, as a private institution, the tuition fees are pretty high for undergrad, but the scholarships are very, very generous. And the same goes for your direct entry graduate programs, with tuition just, again, a little bit over $25,000. Montclair State University. This is one of my favorite universities because it is in a state called New Jersey, but just outside of literally these windows here, you can actually see the New York skyline. So you get the benefit of New Jersey cost of living with the opportunities of the big city. You hop on a train and boom, you're there in 30 minutes or less. Now, the cost of tuition here is only $17,000, $17,892 there for your graduate tuition. Cost of living, again, it is the East Coast, so it's a little bit higher than, say, Alabama, but you're still looking at around $18,000 per year to live on campus with all the food you can imagine. It's a very, very, very good opportunity, and probably the one that I would pursue if I were an international student. Just a bit more of your time. We've got Southern Illinois University, one of our newer partners here. This is, of course, in Southern Illinois, as it implies, and they have something called the High Achiever Tuition, both for undergrad and grad. And what this does is it takes students who have, let's say, a 3.2 GPA or above, or who did exceptionally well on the SAT, which is not compulsory for an application. But if you did well on the SAT for an undergrad, or you just have a strong GPA for grad, then you are actually going to be given the in-state tuition. So that is the tuition that an Illinois resident would pay, somebody who's been paying taxes to the state of Illinois. And that is just shy of $13,000 per year. Plus the cost of living is about the same number. It's about $13,000 per year, which makes it a very, very affordable option. And finally, we have Texas State University, another one of our newer partners here. Texas State is a massive university. Every single major under the sun you can imagine is offered here. They have two campuses. One is just for the nursing students, and the other one has pretty much every other major here. But Texas State is the other university that is offering that High Achiever Award, which brings the tuition down to $12,000 per year for undergrad and $9,000 per year for grad students. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that one of our partners does have a full ride scholarship, and that would be this university here, Texas State University, for the undergraduate students only. The way that works is if you are a student with very strong grades and you have done very well on the SAT, so anything above a 1250, then you could actually get additional scholarships on top of that in-state rate. And we have actually seen at least one student now who applied to Texas State, and they got the maximum scholarship possible, and they paid nothing in tuition, and they only had to pay for the cost of living, which was around $12,200 per year on campus, which again is a very, very affordable rate. So like I'm trying to say here, we've got lots of different options for you. Your counselor can help kind of pick out which university is going to be best for you based on the major that you want, based on your goals, based on where you want to be in the United States, in terms of proximity to opportunities, Fortune 500 companies. We've got all the scholarship information for you, tuition information, and ISP, they're really the experts on all of this. So if you have any questions, I'm available. ISP is here for you, and I'll hand it over to the next speaker.
Thank you so much. That was so good. Thank you so much for, showing us all of the wonderful institutions that you do have under your belt. Some really, really good ones, especially the last. I know a lot of people will be very much interested in that. The Texas State University, since there's a very high probability that, if you have all of the requirements, then you can get free tuition. I'm sure a lot of people would want to try their best to, try and get that opportunity. So we do have a couple of questions, even though you did answer some of them, but, just to run over and, maybe give further clarifications on some of the things that are running through our potential students, what's running through their minds. Yeah. So first question you did mention that WAEC is acceptable, but for those people who don't quite reach the requirements for using WAEC, what English proficiency tests would you suggest that they should take? if you have any that you would like to recommend, which ones do you think would be the best options to go for?
Sure. Well, if you are applying from Nigeria, you will not require an English proficiency test in most cases.
Okay.
If you are an outlier, then we are very, very flexible. We accept everything from IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, Pearson PTE. It's all accepted for our US applications.
Okay. All right. So, I know that for some of the universities, some of them require GRE, some require GMAT. Um, do any of them specifically require maybe SATs or ACTs? Like, is it a
That's an amazing
requirement?
question.
Yeah, and then if it's not a requirement, would you actually advise people to write it if it would increase their chances of maybe getting a scholarship or stuff like that?
I love this question. It's something I'm really passionate about, actually, because I love free money. If you are applying for an undergraduate degree, most universities will not require an SAT or an ACT score. The reason for that is because it is a very antiquated, outdated assessment. Um, However, there are some institutions that are still considering those scores for additional scholarships. Not all universities, but some like Texas State, University of Oklahoma, Hofstra University, Long Island University. There are lots of universities out there that are still considering those SAT scores for additional scholarship. Now, usually the starting point for the score is around 1250. That's usually where they start to look at the SAT as a positive instead of a negative. So if you are looking for scholarships, then taking the SAT is definitely something that I would encourage you to do.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much because I know that again, Nigerians would like an opportunity to get scholarship because I mean,
Oh, me too.
anyway. Okay, all right. So another questions that we got was for financial aid. Is that something that's available for Nigerian students, like aside from the scholarship?
Well, generally speaking, no. Usually, financial aid is only for American citizens. Um, Usually, what I suggest is that students get a loan in their home country because I don't think that it's possible or it is very, very difficult to get a loan or financial aid in the United States. So unfortunately, that is usually the hardest part for students is just having those finances squared away.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, okay. Now we are entering into the questions that are more on the immigration side of things. And so, given the current administration that we have in the US, have you noticed maybe an increase in the delay when it comes to visa decisions and maybe increase in rejections for Nigerian students? Because most of the students that do come to meet us are a little bit on the fence if they should proceed to the US because of, I mean, what's currently going on with the administration. So if you can shed some insights on
Of
if
course,
if
yeah.
the fears are valid and what they can do to overcome this particular fear, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, that is a very valid question. And on behalf of all of America, I'm sorry. None of us likes what's going on right now, especially us in higher education recruitment. Unfortunately, this last intake, so we were recruiting for basically now students who are supposed to start now, we had the most visa rejections. But it was more so also the fact that students weren't able to get visa interviews because the current administration decided to close off all visa interviews to reshape their criteria for what is required to get the visa. Now, that was a temporary decision. So visa appointments are opening up. The new thing is simply that your social media needs to be visible for the last 5 years because they want to vet everything that you've posted just to make sure that you don't pose a threat to the United States. Unfortunately, Nigeria is still the number one country in terms of visa rejections. And I couldn't tell you why. I don't work in the government. That's just kind of a thing that we have to deal with. Fortunately for us, we are able to issue refunds for students who were able to get visa interviews. So if you pay anything and you still get the visa refusal, then you get paid back everything apart from what you have to pay the US Embassy. So there's not really much that we can be done. I can assure you that America still does want you. Universities definitely want you. You won't have any trouble with getting an offer letter itself. But the visa thing is really kind of out of our hands. And generally, I say for Nigerians, you have a 50-50 shot. So you've got to take it. If it's something that you want, you've got to take it. You might lose $550. But worst case scenario, you get one refusal and we can always defer your offer to the next intake. And we just keep trying until there's no more trying left. So I know it's kind of a want kind of subject, but you have our support, you have ISP support, and you also have PASS support. So we all want you to win.
I was going to ask that because you did mention PASS while you were doing your presentation. So, I mean, with PASS, hopefully, now that things are starting to, open up, I'm hopeful that the visa chances would be much better.
Yes, we all are super hopeful. It would be such a bummer if you were a well-intending student and there was just like a small formality, like you filled out something incorrectly. So that's why we have services like PASS, just to make sure that everything is in order so that there's not going to be any reason for a visa refusal apart from just that guy in that window didn't like you that day. Unfortunately, something that happens,
that is the story that a lot of Nigerian students have told, that a person would just look at you and just like, well, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure I shouldn't say this, but I have a theory that there is also a quota. And so my rule of thumb is always the earlier, the better. Like as early as possible. We do work in an industry where we can be very flexible with deadlines, but don't count on it. Really get your applications in as soon as possible. Get your finances together as soon as possible. Get that visa interview as soon as possible, even a year before school starts. Because if there is a quota, which I think there is, then you're going to be first in line and you're going to have higher chances.
Okay. There is something that happens in the visa process where finding a date to actually get your interview is the problem, especially here in Nigeria. Does INTO assist students, in communicating with the school to get like an what's it called? Expedition
Expedited.
Yes. For them to get an expedited date. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
I don't think we're able to do that, unfortunately. From what I understand, students are able to request the expedited appointment. And they're just like, hey, school is starting next week and I have the I-20, and requesting it that way. I'm not the expert on the visas, unfortunately, but once students reach that point, then they're automatically enrolled in our PASS services. So they have the experts helping them with that.
Okay, that's wonderful. Let's see, because there's still a couple more questions.
Sure.
Okay, right. I mean, you did say some of your institutions already have work opportunities available for international students that are coming on board. But when it comes to internship after graduation, maybe someone wants to do an internship instead or getting job placements, does INTO assist in any way?
At that point, INTO is kind of no longer responsible for you.
Okay.
Because it's a much bigger, stronger network than INTO. You will have a campus network. And that's actually another one of the things that is so valuable about the US degree. You've got the alumni network, you've got the professors, and the university is their job is to help you get a job, and most will even help you long after you've left. So I graduated from Michigan State University back in 2017, and they still they're supposed to help me if I request help. So what that
That's
means is they have
wonderful.
a network of jobs, of internships, of course, the alumni network as well. Of course, being an international student, it's a little bit trickier, and the rules are a little bit different. So as an international student, you must get this internship or this job set up before you even graduate. Because if you wait until after you've graduated, the opportunity disappears. So if you're in undergrad, you have 4 years to figure it out, babe. If you're in a graduate program, you've got 2 years to figure it out, babe. And, so you've got to hardcore be networking, rubbing noses, going to all of the events on campus. And that's how you're going to be able to line something up before you graduate.
Okay, all right. So there's just one last question. It's still on immigration anyway. So because immigration, the question is, if there are changes to the immigration policy while the students are, in school, will the school be able to provide support for the students while these changes are taking place? Because you never can tell.
Yeah, that's a very thoughtful question I've not given any thought to. Thanks for bringing that one up. The answer is I simply don't know. Universities in America are very protective of their students. And we saw that during COVID, when students were meant to be going home legally and coming back to renew their visas. Universities protected the students and were like, no, we're going to keep them here on campus. But this whole Donald Trump situation is completely different. And nobody really knows what's going to happen. Usually we would know that this is going to be a temporary situation because we have a 4-year fixed term, but we're dealing with a different beast this time. So nobody really knows what's happening or what is going to happen. Yeah.
Okay, so we have just a couple questions on the comments. Somebody is asking again, are there work opportunities for students?
Yes. That's the answer. 20 hours per week on campus.
Yes, 20 hours per week, yes, on campus available.
Yep. And if you stay during the summer, you can actually work up to 40 hours per week on campus.
So that's full time, basically.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Chidera is asking, beyond academics, are there opportunities to prepare students for internships, employability, and career opportunities after graduation?
Okay. So preparing them so that they're ready for afterwards. Yes, absolutely. Like I mentioned before, the campus itself is designed to keep you engaged constantly. So that means that employers are coming onto campus and actually scouting students as potential employees. There are workshops going on constantly so that you can get expert advice on your CV, actual practice on interviews. Everything is available to you. I will say you have to go to it, right? You can't just sit in your dorm room. You can't just sit in your apartment and think, oh, well, I'm spending all this money and I'm going to my classes and I'm doing my homework. You still have to pursue those opportunities and you still have to go to the events and the activities and you still have to network and you still have to try. And I say this with so much passion because I did not do any of those things. Okay, I went to university. I'm a university student. And I just partied and I went to class and I worked and that's it. Yeah. And I ended up graduating exactly the same as I did when I was in high school, which was a barista. So, imagine that, having a degree in political science and working at a coffee shop. So I did not utilize all the things that were on campus. And that's why I really want you to do what I did not do.
Yeah. That's wise advice, sage advice. Okay, we have one more question from Abdul Salam. He says, please clarify. You said something on CPT and OPT.
Yes. So the clarification, OPT is a thing that most people are familiar with. It stands for optional practicum training, something like that. And that is your post-study work visa, for lack of a better term. That comes in your two sizes. If you study something that is STEM designated or science, technology, engineering, math, you get 3 years of OPT. But if you study ballet or underwater basket weaving or fun things that are not STEM designated, you get 1 year of the post-study work visa. Now,
Okay.
going backwards to CPT is what you can redeem while you're still a student. So in that 4-year journey or in that 2-year journey, that is where you are going to want to go to the career services office on campus. Be like, hello, I would like to redeem my CPT. Because why? People who do internships while they are a student are a lot more likely to get a job placement after they graduate, right? And if you redeem this CPT, then you no longer are stuck to working 20 hours per week on campus. You can work off campus for 40 hours per week if you want to, and you can get some really good experience under your belt. And what I mentioned before about the timing of things is you are allowed to do CPT for up to 1 year, but as long as you do it for less than 1 year, then it's not going to affect your OPT. So if you do CPT for 1 year, then suddenly the government is like, oh, this person just did something for a whole year. We have to take that out of their post-study work visa. So as long as it stays under a year, you can get all that time.
I don't even think this is information that a lot of students have
No,
when it
yeah,
comes to studying in the
I
US.
learned it in this job, It's not just floating around there.
That's actually very wonderful because I can guarantee you that a lot of people only know about OPT. They know nothing about CPT. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a wonderful opportunity. One
Thank
really,
you so
really
much.
wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for bringing light because you learn every day. So thank you so much.
I'm
Um,
pleased to be here. Thank you.
all right. I don't think there's any more questions in the comments. I don't know if anybody has any more additional questions, please drop it because we will be rounding up. Thank you so much, Greta. This was so much fun.
Oh, I agree. I loved being with you. Thank you guys so much for your time and energy.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed myself.
Let's
If
work
not
together
that,
more often. This was good.
yes, yes, this was really, really good. I look forward to having another opportunity where you come and we have another session.
Anytime. Hit me up anytime.
All right. Okay, so
All
I
right.
don't think everybody is just saying thank you. So I think everybody has the information that they want.
Sounds good. All right. Then I think it froze.
Okay, sorry, the network just literally went out for a brief a split second.
It's all right. We already got through everything.
Yes, thank you so, so much. I really appreciate you coming on this session. So if there are any additional questions, please, you'll be hearing from me.
Amazing. I look forward to staying in touch with you. Have a great rest of your day.
And you
And
too.
bye, you guys. Mwah. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.